Welcome to the Covert Narcissism podcast. I'm your host, Renee Swanson. I am not a therapist, and you are not a victim. Today, I am continuing the interview with Jerry Wise. If you missed part one, go back and listen to it. It just released a few days ago. But now let's pick it up right where we left off.
And
Wow.
again, if it's true guilt or healthy guilt, well, then you've probably done something that you maybe should feel guilty about. If not, then maybe it's family guilt. Or, well, here's a classic. Let's do adult children of narcissists. They tell their mother, who's a narcissist, it could be mother, dad, whoever. They tell their mother, we'd like to change Sundays or Christmas Day events so that we can spend time with our kids in the morning at our house, then come over to your house and enjoy that. Well, the tradition has always been everybody comes on Christmas morning to mom and dad's house. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to spend some time with our kids. And that now, mom then throws a fit. I feel guilty.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of guilt is that?
That is family guilt coming from a narcissistic parent. Yeah.
I wouldn't call it true guilt. I haven't done anything to feel guilty about. If you've done, again, the best way to find out that it's not true guilt is to see, have you done anything wrong?
Right.
I haven't done anything. I simply asked mom about this.
But when you're raised by a narcissistic parent, your ability to distinguish between doing something right or wrong is probably cloudy.
Very, very cloudy. And that's a very good point, which is part of what I try to teach people. Let me teach you what's normal. Because oftentimes an adult child of a narcissist or a spouse of a covert narcissist or whatever have a hard time knowing particularly what normal would be. What is normal? And they'll, well, maybe I should feel guilty for that. She did get upset. She did cry. So maybe I hurt her. You didn't hurt her. You simply made a request that was reasonable and appropriate. She became a victim and poor me so that you would change back.
Which makes it a manipulation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why she was, oh, we've always done it on this. We can't change that. Why are you? And then dad comes in. Why are you making your mom? Why are you hurting your mom? Dad, I'm not hurting mom at all.
Because it's not about mom. It's about
really
me and my
family. Exactly.
Yeah. But a narcissistic parent or a narcissistic individual, not limited to parent by all means.
Right.
Everything is all about them.
All about them.
Yeah.
And that's why, and that's something I teach also and tell people, remember, since it's all about them, you're already going to be wired to have a lot of guilt around what you do, even if you do nothing wrong.
Yeah. So in order to break free from that guilt, because what I'm hearing is guilt is this powerful force that's keeping people enmeshed in these relationships, because then you are driven to, we don't like how guilt feels. So we cancel our family plans on Christmas morning and we self-sacrifice to go spend that time with mom to keep the peace with mom. And so guilt is a very powerful force. And in the hands of a narcissistic individual, it's incredibly powerful. And so how do we break free from that?
Okay. Then first of all, I do some simple things and some hard things. I always combine both of those together. The simple things are, there's a great book by Manuel Smith called When I Say No, I Feel Guilty. Excellent book. Just when I say no, I feel guilty. And he does a great job. and describing that and how to work on that in a cognitive and behavioral way. And he does a very good job. Then I also want to work on the systems dynamic of this, because it's ingrained in a systemic systems way. Not only is it ingrained in my head and ingrained in my heart, it's ingrained in the system. And so I will talk to someone about, okay, I know this is not easy and this is going to be tough. And in fact, you can be the client, let's say, and I would say, well, Renee, are you ready to give up your guilt?
And I would
And what would
say in
you
a
say?
heartbeat, absolutely, because I'm tired of living this way.
Absolutely. That's a great answer. And I hear that a lot.
Yes.
And I would say, but your answer already tells me you're not. Because if you're that ready, you would have given it up. Now, I'm not shaming you. You're not doing anything wrong. That is a normal. So, what I want you to do is you might want to work on saying, I am not yet ready to give up this guilt.
Mm.
And say that 100 times a day.
Okay.
So that you can begin
Separate.
to separate that out. Say you're
Mhm.
not ready. Then you're accepting you, not shaming you, not guilting you for not being able to give up this guilt, because you shouldn't be shamed for that or guilted for that.
Mhm.
We all have those struggles, but I want you to be where you are. And where you are is you are not quite ready. And they would say, oh, but I am ready. I still want to get rid of this. And I understand. I know you do. And I know you do. But you are 49% ready to let go of it and 51% not ready to let go of it. I'm trying to help you tip the other way, is what I'm
Wow.
trying to help you do.
Mhm.
And so that's where we get through the neurosis of it. We
Okay.
tip the other way. And so I want you to accept that you're not ready to do that, which may feel more, excuse me, may feel more, um, sorry,
You're good.
that when we feel we are not ready to give up that, or we are ready to give up that guilt, but we don't seem to be able to do it or can't do it, then it's better to accept that we're not ready, because it's not, and they'll go, I don't know how to do it. Jerry, tell me how to give up how do I give up this guilt?
You
And
read
I
my next
remember,
question. That was my
oh,
next question coming.
no,
As
that's
as the
exactly
role playing in this role, I'm going, "Okay, how do we do
how,
it?"
how. And I asked the very same question, and it's particularly with my mother. I had lots of guilt all the time. In fact, everything regarding her and my relationship was about guilt. And so I asked the question, well, how do I get rid? And I remember the great wise therapist who was a family systems therapist. I remember Dr. Reggie, and he said, um, the reason why you're still stuck is because you think it's a how question. It's a when question.
Mm.
It's like somebody coming to me and say, okay, Jerry, tell me how to breathe. I need to know how to breathe. Well, take air into your mouth, into your lungs, and
Right.
breathe it out. It's not a how question, it's when.
Wow.
When are
Wow.
you going to let that go? It's not really about a how.
Okay.
Um,
And so
and
that would bring the closure that we also desperately want anyways when we're looking for closure with this individual in our life. By closure, I mean, finally getting a moment of peace with them, but the closure doesn't come with them. The closure comes within us.
within us. Absolutely. And I don't need them for
Mhm.
me to do this work.
Right.
And too many people connect them with this work. That, well, how can I ever? How can I ever get free of this? Because she will always make me feel guilty. Oh, well, then we're in trouble because then we're going to have to work on making her not make you feel guilty.
That's an
Good luck.
impossible job.
Good luck
Yes.
with that task. And if you learn it, if you got that figured out, you let me know. I'd like to know how to
Right.
do that.
Right. Okay. So what would you say to someone who feels like it's too late to reclaim themselves?
It's only too late when you're 6 foot under.
Mhm.
And then some will believe you have life after that. That's fine. But that's the only time it's too late. Because why would we put that in front of us as a hurdle? Who taught you it's too late? Who taught you who taught you it's too late? Where did you learn that?
The family law.
Exactly. There is no too late. And I have people who are in their 60s, even 70s, who go, oh, well, I've had this problem with this narcissistic parent for years. They passed away, but I just think it's too late for me. And I go, it is never too late to have a happy childhood.
Wow.
Reparent yourself today. Okay, so you only get 5 years of loving yourself. Oh, how awful. How about 5 years is better than no years?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Start today.
And the impact of that into your current relationships is significant, is
Is
huge.
significant. It's never too late to learn, to change. And again, the reason why people get so discouraged and so it's not going to work, or I can't do this, or they feel stuck, is because they are other focused, not self focused. In other words, and in family systems language, that's very important. And often they will even ask other focused questions about their problem. Like, how do I deal with my mom's narcissism?
Mhm.
Well, we're already in trouble because you're trying to deal with her narcissism. Stop dealing with her narcissism.
Mhm.
Start dealing with you.
Right.
You're not going to get her unnarcissistic. I mean, there's no sense.
There's no magical cure for that, as we all
And
are aware.
if we had that cure, I'd be on a beach somewhere
Sure.
and enjoying myself. And so it's right. It's a matter of that we want to focus on self, and that you don't need them. The best good news I've ever been able to share with people: you don't need the dysfunctional parts of your life to agree with you for you to change.
That's actually a really, really good thing because those dysfunctional parts are never going to agree.
They're never going to, if you're waiting on them. And that's why people have waited so long. Or that's why they say, oh, it's too late. And I'm going, it's too late to change you, or it's too late to change the dynamic between you and your narcissistic family member.
Yeah.
And then what are you expecting to change? That them to change? Oh, let's give that up. Let's
Yeah.
let's give that up.
Yeah. We've
Then you
already
can
worn
maybe be
ourselves
happy.
out trying to figure out the right way to say this,
Say
do this, bend that way, stand on my head, to,
pretzel.
contort myself all the different ways. And none of them work. And I
They
guess
don't.
one of the things I often say to people is if I have worn myself out trying to do A, B, C, D, E, F, or G, and I can go through the whole alphabet and none of it works, then why am I spending so much energy on them?
Because the paradigm we got from our family of origin says that's the way to do it,
Mhm.
but it doesn't work.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. And
And we
then
keep doing that. We keep
we
trying.
do. And then when I step away and stop doing that, because of the family dynamic again, I feel guilty about that. It's one more piece of guilt.
Well, I feel guilty about that. So there's one more piece of guilt, but it's family guilt,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
And then also, well, now I feel lonely. Now I feel abandoned. Now I feel rejected or whatever because I'm now focusing on me and not focusing on them. But the reality is that that's a systems feeling of loneliness so that you change back.
Mhm.
That's the purpose of that feeling, is so that you'll go, oh, because then I'm going, okay, let's say let's fix your loneliness and you go back and be with them and interact more with them. What have you got?
Right.
Uh, is
More
that
loneliness.
you've got more now, you've got loneliness within the within the
Mhm.
relationship. I mean, don't tell
Mhm.
me that's not lonely.
Right.
I
There's a
mean,
huge difference between being alone and being lonely.
exactly.
The loneliest place I've ever been was actually in the household, sitting right beside the narcissistic person in my life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I felt always I could be in a crowd and feel very lonely
Yeah.
and thought, well, but then I want to keep avoiding feeling lonely. Maybe my thinking's not right. Maybe I need help in twisting my head here a little bit. And that's what Murray Bowen and Family Systems helped me twist my head
Sure.
in a more
Sure.
helpful way.
So with all of this process that you're describing here, it's a reframing. It's reframing our thoughts to work in a new framework, taking what we have, the experiences we've had, the memories we've had, the expectations we have, all of this, and put a new framework to it, and it creates a completely different environment within us,
Absolutely.
within us,
Within
within
us.
us.
Within us.
Yes.
And I think it even goes even deeper than that. It's the way we would have been had there been a healthy environment.
Mhm.
In other words, that's why Murray Bowen called it natural family systems. The way virology is, or viruses, the way cells operate are no different than way we do because we're a part of life and biology.
Mhm.
And so this natural family systems is deeper. It's what would have been if everything would have gone well.
Sure.
And
Sure.
and wouldn't you want to live that way?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be I would be what my goal would be?
Yeah.
I'd like to live the way I would have lived had not all this happened.
Yeah. So it's changing that mental, energetic, chemical environment within you.
Right.
Yeah. And
Right.
creating now a healthy internal environment for you to live in.
Right.
Yeah.
And that can change everything around you.
Everything. Yeah. Wow.
Everything.
Jerry, thank you so much for sharing this approach and this kind of breakdown of all of this and how it infiltrates your life from childhood and then how it sets the stage for some of the future trauma and environments we find ourselves in because we are the ones carrying that environment within us, and so I think the correlation is very strong. Yeah.
And I definitely agree and believe that if I want to change the world, I start with me.
Yeah. What a beautiful
And
message.
and and is that is such a much more powerful way to change the world around me.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing this. People that are looking for your work out there, how do they find you?
I'm on YouTube, Jerry Wise Relationship Systems, and most people can just type in my name, and usually it comes up now pretty
Mhm.
regularly. Um, you can also go to the website, Jerry Wise Relationship Systems, singular relationship systems plural
Okay.
.com, and you can go there and just sign up right on the front page and get the 84-minute free training. Free, doesn't cost you a thing, and anybody can. And I've had people that have been so grateful for just that 84 minutes.
Sure.
And so please take advantage of that. Doesn't cost you anything. Then if you really want to get deeper and deeper and deeper, then there's the Road to Self program that
Okay.
we have online. But I'm on TikTok and Instagram and all the fun places that
Right.
we're supposed to be on. So
All the places that pop up now, yes, and so
that's right.
and so everyone out there listening, Jerry Wise, it's spelled Jerry, and the last name Wise is Wise, as in very, very wise, and I find that that is absolutely true, and I thank you so much for sharing your wisdom here with this audience.
Renee, thank you so much for having me.
I wish you so much peace on your journey of healing. You have been listening to the Covert Narcissism podcast, where we break apart the insidious nature of these incredibly destructive and frustrating to the ends of the earth individuals. If you are struggling with the isolation, overwhelming self doubt, and obsessive ruminating, you are not alone. I offer live, personalized coaching that is specific for you. This coaching can be individual or group sessions, or a combination of the two. You can find all the information at covertnarcissism.com. Reach out anytime. My email address is Renee, Renee, at covertnarcissism.com. And remember, I am not a therapist and you are not a victim, but I am a coach and you are a survivor. The information provided by Renee Swanson, Covert Narcissism Podcast, and CNG Life Coaching is for educational purposes only and is not to be used for diagnosis purposes. It is not intended to be a substitute for clinical care. Please consult a health care provider for guidance specific to your case. This material discusses narcissism in general. Renee shares stories from her personal experience as well as from those she has talked with for several years. Her material does not claim that any specific person has narcissism and should not be used to refer to any specific person as having narcissism. Permission is not granted to link to or repost this material to support any allegation or claim that any specific person is a narcissist. That would be an unauthorized misuse of the material and information provided.